Today's challenge is to sharpen my knives. The kitchen is only as good as its dullest knife, so this is an important challenge. Here we have my chef's knife. I use this whenever I'm chefing. I also have a boning knife, a Hessler Worldwide Surgical Stainless Steel boning knife. I bought this at Sam's Club after the salesman cut into a hammer and then cut a tomato with it. It really impressed me. I've never cut a hammer or a tomato. I really only cut things that have bones with it. But it does come with a lifetime warranty on the sharpness. It says it never needs to be sharpened. So we're done with this one already. But this guy definitely needs to be sharpened. The goal is to have it as sharp as an anime sword. So if I go like this, depending on how good my editing skills are, that might have looked super cool, and hopefully it shows you how sharp it should be. But if I can't get it that sharp, I'd at least like it to be sharp enough to shave with, is plan B, minimum standard goal. So how sharp it is now is, I don't know, if you go like this, it can cut paper. I tore that though. Really not that impressive. The bottom of it is much sharper than the top. There's a nick right here, is where I think it keeps tearing. But notice the anime style, it doesn't work. So we're going to sharpen that up. First up, I'm going to use something that you probably have seen, probably even have. This is called a sharpening stick. Mine is a Victorino brand, size X, I believe. And there's a couple different ways to use a sharpening stick. A lot of people have their own techniques. You've probably seen Chef Ramsay on TV do it like this because it looks really flashy. I think on TV they speed it up, and he's actually only doing this fast, it looks this fast. But I'm going to do it a different way. This is the official way, I believe. I'll show you with a different camera angle what it looks like here. Here's what you're going to do with the sharpening stick. You're going to come up to the edge of the counter like this, sort of like a rolling pin type deal with the handle sticking out. And then you're going to put your knife down underneath of it and lift it up a little bit and just let the stick sort of roll off. That's why it's a cylinder, is so it can roll. So just let it roll down along the edge of the knife. You can give it a push if you want. I don't recommend you going backwards. It just doesn't flow very well, but you can if you want. Flip the knife over and do it to the other side as well. It'll probably go quicker this way, just because it's a bigger angle and like physics and stuff. But just make sure you do it evenly on both sides. Get a good roll. Knife is sharpening up real quick. Okay, here we have our honing pads, also called a knife rock sometimes. This is a little 3-rock system that I got, 3 different colors, and this will also help sharpen your knife. It sits in a reservoir of oil, which is like gooified at the moment, and it looks pretty gross. I'm not sure if I should be cleaning that out, but I'm just going to put some new fresh stuff on top. It's alright. Now there's 3 different colors. They are 3 different sharpnesses. We're going to use all 3, but we're going to start with this one. Right here it says coarse on the side. That stands for of course. You'll start there. After the coarse, we're going to rotate it to medium because medium's in the middle. And then it ends on fine because you did a fine job sharpening the knife. That's what they stand for, I believe. So here's how you do it. You take your knife and you cut it in half like that. That makes a 90-degree angle. Then you're going to take that in half, and it looks like that, and that's a 45-degree angle. And then you're going to take half of that, and that looks like that, and that's a 22.5-degree angle. And that's your sweet spot. You're going to want to vary it up or down by like 1 or 2, just to give your own personal number. You don't want your knife to be exactly as sharp as everyone else's. But that's where you want to go. And then the idea is, at that angle, you're going to want to try to slice the top of the rock, essentially. Trying to create a slice so thin that you can't even see it. It's a lot like using a meat slicer. So that's the idea. You do that, you flip it over, you do it the other direction as well. And that's all you really need to do in order to use a knife rock. That's what I call it, I think. So one more tip is, you don't want to push it like this using your arms. You want to use your hips. It's all in the hips. It's just like playing golf. You're just all in the hips. Instead of pushing it, you want to pre-wind your body like this, as if you were taking a panoramic picture with a camera. It's just like taking a picture. You pre-wind and then you unwind. So that's where you're using your hips to go like this across. So let's start. Start on the left with our 90, our 45, our 22.5, our variation for our own specialty. Pop it off to the side, and then all in the hips. So just like that. Okay, it's not all in the hips, it's a little bit of the rest of your body as well. So let's start over. Just like that. You can tell, makes a very different sound when you do it right versus when you do it wrong. I'm not going to tell you which sound that was. We'll see if we can figure it out as we go. Remember, it's very important you want to get an equal number of slices on each side. So don't just go to town on one direction. Remember to switch sides, it's very important. But if you can't remember, you're bad at counting like I am, it's not that important. So just wing it, essentially. You'll also notice that I switch hands. That's because I find it very awkward to do left-handed. You'll also notice that I'm not using my hips. That's because, again, it's one of those things, it's really important that you do it right, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter at all. So this is another way you can do it, is like this, pulling it towards you. But you just do that a bunch of times. Every now and then you can go like this, clean it off. You can observe it. I'm not going to tell you what to look for. Just go like this a lot and people assume you know what you're doing. If you do this, you move your thumb sideways, not along it, because if you do it this way, you're not going to have a thumb anymore. And if you do it this way, you hear a nice sound. You can occasionally pull out your sharpening stick and give it a little roll again. You know, just give it a little roll. And then once you decide, I'm done with this color, you're just going to flip this over, bring it up into medium, and we're going to do the same thing. Again, you're just, remember to get your angle, remember to listen for the good sounds, and remember every now and then to flip to the other direction. And don't let anyone call you out on not using your hips, because not everyone likes to use their hips. It's important to remember It's important to remember to push down a little bit with your left hand here, because you're trying to get a firm weight even when it gets down to the tip here. The tip is where I struggle the most. I lose my angle, I lose my pressure. So the tip of all my knives are really janky. But it's important to remember that your knife has a lot of steel on it. So if you give it a bad angle, you can just keep sharpening it over and over again. And I mean, eventually you'll turn it into a boning knife, but that'll take a long time. And you'll probably learn how to do it by then. So just remember to test it every now and again, Z's. Make sure you're heading in the right direction. And if not, then stay on the same stone you're at. You don't want to stay on the coarse of coarse one for too long, but you can hang out in that medium until you're really where you think you want to be. And that's how you sharpen your knife. Let's give us a little test with the paper again. Still catches a little bit at the tip there. The base of it is sharp. The base of it is sharp-ish. We'll try the anime sword. I have a lot more, it's not the cleanest edge, but I have a lot more paper. So let me go try shaving with it and then we'll see. Good enough for me. Challenge complete.